The Girl from the Other Side, directed by Yuturu Kubo, based on the manga of the same name written by Nakabe. I loved this anime so much. It's 3 episodes, but it's essentially a film. So good. It's a very specific flavor. It's a very specific tone. It's very specific pacing, and the aesthetic is very gothic. So it's just like a gothic dark fairy tale that's very cozy and just comforting. But at the same time, it's not for kids. It's not necessarily a cutesy little fairy tale. Like, I don't think most kids could watch this, not because it's scary and gothic, but because of the tone and the pace. Because the pace is very slow, very contemplative. Scenes really breathe. You're just observing these two characters interact. It's a very character-driven story, and I really enjoyed that. So the story is dark fantasy and it's very vague in its world building, and I don't mind that. I mean, I am someone who loves Attack on Titan. I love Lord of the Rings, so I do love really rich, complex world building. But sometimes the opposite is okay. Sometimes the opposite is refreshing and comforting. So it takes place some sort of Irish medieval era. And the reason why I say Irish is because in the title, Sul Arun or something like that, which essentially means go my love or walk my love. There's a very old folklore song with the same name, but I doubt there's any connection because the song, from what my brief little research, the song is about a young woman lamenting her love who fled to war or something like that. So this is not a romance, so I doubt it's connected. It's just the phrase from that old Irish dialect. Anyways, back to the anime. So this world divided into inside and outside. Inside is some sort of human kingdom, and outside is where all these cursed demonic creatures live. And they just go around cursing humans, it seems. They don't spend too much time explaining it or showing it, but you just gather that as you watch. We follow one of these cursed creatures. He seems to not fully be a curse yet. He still is dressed like a man. He just looks different. He forgot his memory. He forgot what it was like to be a man, but he hasn't fully abandoned his humanity yet. So he comes across this innocent, pure little girl named Shiva. Because he has not fully lost himself yet, he doesn't wish her any harm, so he saves her. He cannot touch her because then he could curse her, so he is very intentional with the way he carries her. And you kind of see that throughout the entire anime, which I love because it's those small little moments that show how he cares for her. Holding her a specific way, calling her a specific way. You can't even say that they go on an adventure together because, again, this anime is very quiet. It's very slow and in a very good intentional way, not in a boring way. And he just wants to save her. He wants to protect her, and she gives him hope. She is the light of his life, and she doesn't discriminate him whatsoever. She's also hiding some things. She has a little bit of a past that is insinuated in many scenes. When she's by herself, she kind of gets serious, or she wants to tell him something, but then she stops herself. And so she also isn't just like this perfect one note cute little girl. Like, she has some depth to her, and I just love the dynamic. I love it. It was such a wholesome story, and again, you just observe them. That's what the story is, observing them as she's just being an innocent little girl, and he's a stoic, depressed, tortured soul, and she's making him chuckle a little bit. He's entertaining her little stories, and he is teaching her how to do things. We go on to know him as teacher because that's what she calls him, because she's like, you teach me many things. So she goes on to call him teacher. And again, just a really cute story, and I definitely want to read the manga now. I looked into the manga a little bit, and from what I gathered, it seems like the manga is much more fleshed out while still keeping in the same pace and just the same overall storytelling, but this anime took some liberties and wanted to keep it more vague. So I am very interested in reading that manga, and I most definitely will. I've seen this twice already. I saw it once in dub and once in sub. And as someone who's a really big advocate for watching things in sub, I was pleasantly surprised by the sub because it's all in Irish accents, and the acting was pretty good. The little girl voice was, everything was great, honestly. But what stood out to me specifically was how the dialogue and screenwriting was changed from dub to sub. And that happens in all anime, but I felt like this one, it was better in dub. The dialogue felt much more clearer, it flowed better, it made more sense. So I actually really enjoyed that. And as always, just even though the acting was good, I always just prefer the Japanese voices just because there's much more voice acting going on. And I feel like the teacher, his voice in the sub is much more like Batman, almost like deep, brooding, tortured. And Shiva is, you know what, we all know, Japanese women, they do these amazing, cute little girl voices.
お城で助けられごっこ
無理却下
ひどい
And in the dub, teacher is much more just like a Irish, deep, gentlemanly voice, and it works. It works. It's good. But after hearing the sub, I'm like, oh, I kind of prefer this more dark, brooding way of speaking. And Shiva it was good. I have no real complaints. It wasn't as quite as cutesy as the Japanese, which I kind of prefer, but it was still a good, solid little girl voice and good acting, you know? And everything else, the score, the animation, really good. I love how intentional and how raw this animation was. I love when certain animations take liberties and they make it much more simpler, kind of like in the movie Flow, but then it's still very artistic and it doesn't take away at all. It's just a very distinct animation choice. And I really love the animation, especially in certain scenes where it was just straight up like sketches, and it was really cool. And the score, I love how nostalgic and sad and just gentle the piano score was. It actually reminded me a lot of The Shape of Water. It reminded me a lot of that score. And yeah, overall I loved it. There were some moments where I was like, why is the music kind of upbeat? But I really liked it overall, especially the main theme. It just was moving me to tears, frankly. And yeah, I just really love this anime. I really love the story, the messaging, the themes going on. It touched my soul for sure, and I'm sure many other people it will touch their souls. Yeah, it's a very metaphorical story. The storytelling was very art house, to be honest. Again, I'm very interested to read the manga just to see how it differs from that storytelling, because I could tell that perhaps the manga is much more storytelling and intricacy and narratives, and this one is much more like showing very obscure and very artistic visuals to convey stuff, to convey messaging, to convey story, feelings, all that. And yeah, I could go on. I really love this. After I read the manga, perhaps I'll make another video. I don't know if I'll have too much to say, but maybe I will, because I really love the story and I can't wait to read it. So let me know if you've seen the anime, if you've read the manga, the differences, how the anime shapes up to the manga. I would love to know people's perspectives on that. But yeah, thanks for watching.